Well, a pair of leading conservative fundraisers are now calling out President Obama over what they say is an irresponsible and misleading message to supporters. Charles and David Koch are firing back at the president over a fundraising letter that specifically attacks them. The letter went out to supporters of President Obama on Friday. It's from his campaign manager, Jim Messina. It states, quote, "Those are the same Koch brothers whose business model is to make millions by jacking up prices at the pump and who have bankrolled Tea Party extremism and committed $200 million to try to destroy President Obama before Election Day. Now, some are questioning the president's decision to target private citizens who are opposed to his re-election." Joining me now, Laura Ingraham, radio talk show host and Fox News contributor. Laura, the Koch brothers have taken it for a while now. Since the 2010 elections, at least, the president and his team have been going after them. And now they're not taking it anymore. They had their lawyer write a letter a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now they personally are writing to the president saying, knock it off.
Yeah, Ted Olson, who wrote the letter on the behalf of the Koch brothers a few weeks ago, pointed out that, look, we used to talk about the enemy list. You know, when you have an enemies list, how disturbing that is in a representative democracy, that the executive branch would seek on its own whim and its own whimsy to just pick out one or two individuals and spread untruths, falsehoods about them in an attempt to do one thing. What? To shift blame on an issue like gas prices. That's going to be a big one in November. And also perhaps to discourage others from getting involved in the political debate. Now, I would imagine if the Koch brothers became suddenly supportive of the president's agenda, we wouldn't see those types of Jim Messina fundraising letters.
They write the following to Jim Messina. They write, "The implication in this sort of attack is obvious. Dare to criticize the president's policies, and you will be singled out and personally maligned by the president and his campaign in an effort to chill free speech and squelch dissent." They talk about how this is an abuse of the president's position, and it does a disservice to the nation.
Megan, is he not supposed to be the president of all the people? That was the great promise of the Obama administration coming in. I'm going to represent all of America. You might not have supported me, but I'm your president. That has to apply, right? And you can have a robust exchange of ideas, and I'm sure the campaign has disagreements with where the Koch brothers come out on issues. That's fine. Why is it that we can't have a debate about the issues, about what our energy policy should be or what our tax policy should be? Why must it go to this level of individual demonization from the highest levels of our government? I mean, this is a campaign letter, no doubt, but this comes from the guy who's the chief in charge. He's a guy in charge of Obama's effort to get himself back into office. This should send a chill down the spines of everyone out there who's watching Fox now, because if you dare to question, you might not have the money of the Koch brothers to defend yourself. You might just have your reputation to lose.
Or the microphone that they have,
right?
Because they are.
Of course.
But let's just go through it, because it's not just this Jim Messina letter that he wrote to try to get President Obama's supporters to, you know, think ill of the Koch brothers. Back in 2010, there were ads released in the lead up to the midterm elections going after the Koch brothers for their donations.
No, the new Halliburton. Remember, it was Halliburton during the Bush years.
But then it went on. Henry Waxman wanted to subpoena them to testify before Congress on what role, if any, they had in the Keystone oil pipeline, right? And they said no role.
Shifting,
we have no benefit in it. Why are you looking at us? And then Austin Goolsbee, remember the president's economic advisor, came out and made a statement about their taxes that led to an congressional investigation, and there was a question about whether their taxes had been looked into, and now this. I mean, it's been a pattern.
Yeah, the full force of the U.S. government will be brought down on you if you dare to question, and if you have a platform, and if you've done well, if you have money, watch out. That's the message here. And what I'm saying is, remember what happened during the healthcare debate. Remember when there was that concern that the insurance companies were going to try to stand up for themselves, and the White House was very, very clear that we weren't going to tolerate dissent on building the case for Obamacare. They shut down a real robust discussion about that inside the White House.
And then some companies had to restate their financials after the healthcare law was passed.
Exactly.
And Waxman again wanted to subpoena them and have them come before the U.S. Congress and justify why they were going to raise. They had to revise their financials.
Yeah, Megan, liberalism in its truest form was about a free exchange of ideas, right? And if you're a liberal, traditionally, you are someone who liked the debate. But what we have now in Washington is we have a number of people who are in power, Obama's in power, They really don't want to debate. They don't want to be questioned on what happened with all this green money that went down the tubes. They don't want to be questioned on just what went into this health care mandate at HHS. They want to demonize the opposition and divert attention. So now it's about the Koch brothers, or now later on it'll be about, talk radio, or
But the talk radio is one thing, right? Because I don't know, you're in the business of forming opinions. You're used to taking a few blows, but if you're a private citizen, maybe it's different.
Yeah.
However, does it switch over to another realm when you are as big a donor and have as much influence as guys like the Koch brothers have?
Well, I guess Bill Maher's going to spend $1 million on Obama's campaign. I guess, would it be appropriate then for a Republican administration to investigate his dealings with? I mean, it's all ridiculous, unless they're doing something illegal. And unless they have real reason, legitimate reason, outside the fact that they disagree with their maybe political position. I find this to be an attempt to shut down legitimate inquiry, debate, and robust discussion. And if you're a Democrat or a liberal watching Fox, we love the fact that you're watching, but be proud of your ideas. Actually debate them. Make the case, an affirmative case for the president's agenda.
You have to think about how it would be if the shoe were on the other foot.
Oh, I mean,
you had like a President Bush doing this to a
the New York
George
Times.
Soros.
First Amendment is being threatened, so we know what's going on.
A pleasure as always.
Great to see you, Megan.
Thank you. Coming up, Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta telling